Yo, what is up PK fam, and today I'm coming to you with probably my most requested tutorial yet, which is the BackFull. So let's get some examples and then let's get to it. Okay, so the prerequisites you should learn before you try this move is obviously a backflip, a really nice backflip, to the point that it's almost effortless. I personally would think so. Like, I think you need to get an effortless backflip before you try a backfull. Also, a prerequisite that's gonna be very useful when learning this move is knowing how to do a strong scoot. So that's a scoot. A scoot is a power setup that just gives you a lot more momentum into the move instead of just doing it standing. And then the other move is, honestly, to me personally, I would try to learn a different twisting move, one that's physically easier. I would say either a cork or a B-twist, one of the two, you choose. Okay, so did you learn those two moves? I'm gonna assume you did, but anyway, even if you didn't, there are two types of backfulls that I honestly categorize them in. There's the backfulls that I've been showing you in my examples, which is just straight over backfull, which is this again. And then there's what I call a trigger full, which is basically kind of cheating the full, so pulling across to the side instead of like swinging your arms straight up. So it's more of a twist than a flip compared to regular fulls. And a trigger full looks like this. Notice how my hips never fully go above my head. Neither of these is necessarily wrong, they're just different ways of doing them. Trigger fulls are obviously easier because you don't need to flip as much and you can just rip the twist a lot harder, but if you want to work up to like double fulls that are actually upside down instead of like horizontal like a B-twist, then I recommend learning it the first way, which is going straight over. Anyway, now that we got that all cleared up, let's get to the technique part of the tutorial. Okay, so obviously you don't need to run up for this move. It's a backflip variation, so you're just gonna be jumping straight backward. No, well, you're gonna be jumping up, not backward. Anyway, the first step is your arms. So if you wanna do it the more straight over way, you're obviously gonna bring both arms back, just like a regular backflip. So at this point, when you just swing your arms back, if you're doing it that way, you shouldn't be able to, no one else should tell if you're doing a backflip or a backfull. If you want to do it the cheated way, you're gonna be, what I do at least, is you're gonna bring one arm straight back and the other one in front of your body. So if I'm twisting left, I'm gonna bring my right arm straight back and then my left arm in front of me. The reason I say you want the arm that you're gonna be twisting towards, so if I'm twisting left, I want my left arm in front of my body instead of completely to the side, is so that you can actually go at least a little upside down. If you bring both arms across, that really gets you in the habit of just pulling straight across, which means even less flip, which I personally don't like. And if you're fine with it, then I don't care. So now for the second motion, actually swinging up. So obviously when you wind your arms back, whether it be like this or like this, you're going to try to swing as much up as you can. So for the backflip 360, straight up. So again, try not to lean back when you're jumping. You wanna go straight up. So as you're swinging your arms up, you're gonna be jumping with your legs as well. So it's obviously gonna look like this for the proper way, and then this for the trigger way. Now, as you're swinging your arms up, you wanna think about kind of punching to one shoulder, to whichever shoulder that you're gonna be twisting to. So since I twist to my left, I'm gonna think about swinging up and then punching someone above my left shoulder. Now, actually a good way to think about it is punching someone above your left shoulder and also elbowing them at the same time. So it's gonna be boom. If it was towards you, it'd be like boom, okay? That is gonna initiate the first part of your twist. Now, since that arm swing is going to be the one that starts your twist, it's very important that you don't punch and elbow too early, because the earlier you twist, the more flip you're gonna have to do as while you're twisting. Also, the earlier you twist, the less height you're gonna get. So try to make sure that you get as much height as you can and as much flip as you can before you twist. Honestly, a good thing to try to do is try not to actually punch and elbow until you're actually off of the ground. So try to jump first, and then only once you leave the ground, then start punching and elbowing towards that shoulder that you're twisting to. This ensures that you'll at least start the flip as well as the twist. So you're here, you're punching and you're elbowing to one shoulder, and then that's gonna start this twist, which means you're kind of setting up for an Arabian position, but sort of. Your body is in the position of an Arabian, but it's not gonna feel like an Arabian at all if you're committing to the full backfull. So again, you're gonna be in that Arabian position, but instead of staring at the ground and then finishing and tucking and whatnot, you're not gonna really tuck. What you're gonna do is bring your arms from that punching position just to your chest. Because if you try to tuck while you do your back full, that's gonna slow down your twist. It's gonna speed up your flip, but it's gonna slow down your twist by a lot. You're gonna face the ground, and then you're gonna just keep on looking to whichever shoulder that you're twisting to. So since I twist my left, you're gonna just keep on looking over that left shoulder to finish the twist. Or here, here, here. I don't stare at the ground. I keep on looking to the left to finish this flip. And then that's when I'm gonna do the full back full. Now, obviously, explaining the actual full part is the hard part, which is why I recommend you try learning a different twisting move like a cork, tutorial will be in the description, or a B-twist. I don't have a tutorial on the B-twist because I'm not that great at them. But anyway, you finish the full twist and then it's gonna be really hard to spot the ground since you're twisting. It's more of just a timing thing and air awareness thing that like, you just keep on spamming it until you feel that you know you finished the twist and you just gotta reach for your feet towards the ground. So now that we explained the technique, now we're moving on to the second part of this tutorial, which is common things people do wrong and how to correct it. So the most common thing people do wrong, in my opinion, for this move is twist too early. Now this is a really hard habit to overcome because when you're scared and you try to flip, you try to get to the ground, you try to finish the move as fast as possible. Now the downsides to twisting too early, as I explained earlier, is just not getting as much height as you possibly could and not flipping enough. Jesus Christ, it's scary. So obviously, twisting too early is landable, but it's just not ideal. Now, the main thing to do to correct twisting too early is just to make sure that you don't punch an elbow too early. So really make sure that you bring your arms all the way up and then punch an elbow. The next thing that people tend to do wrong with this move is just not expect to land. Like they just assume that they're not gonna land, so they reach their hands towards the ground when they easily could land it with no hands. So this is what expecting not to land even though you could looks like. So for that one specifically, I just reached toward the ground really early, which brought my chest down. But I sent that just like all the other fulls that I have landed. So if I just kept my arms in, I could easily land it. Another super common thing that people do wrong, as well as I did, when trying back fulls, is lean their chest back. Just like regular backflips, it's super common for people to throw their chest back because they think it's gonna flip them faster when really it's just killing their height. Obviously, the main thing to correct about this is just like for a backflip, make sure that you jump straight up when you do your back full instead of backward. Okay, and lastly, for this part of the tutorial at least, the last common thing that people do wrong is just trying this move when they're not ready. If you are still struggling to land a backflip, you may have a really high backflip sometimes, and you may be able to land the backflip sometimes, but if you're not really comfortable with a backflip, you should not be trying to add a 360 to this move. So obviously, the thing to do to remedy this problem is just taking your time with your progression. Doing the progression moves, just spamming backflips so they're really clean, and then learning possibly a twisting move. Or you could be really stubborn and then just keep on spamming it, and then you will eventually land it. I'm just saying it will take longer to do that than it will to learn the progression moves first. And think of it this way, when you learn those progression moves, you're just learning more moves. It's not like you're waiting to do a back full, you're still learning other moves. But anyway, this brings us to the last part of the tutorial, which is the fear of the move and how to overcome it. So obviously the main fear people have with this move is just like any backflip fear, which is landing on your head. Now I will go over the most obvious progression first, which is adjusting your environment. So obviously you're not gonna try a back full just on concrete on your first try. I would obviously recommend, if you have access, using a pit. Once you get really comfortable with the motion into a pit, going onto a resi or a mat, and then doing it on spring floor, and then grass, and then maybe concrete. Let's say that you got it pretty comfortable into the pit, but once you tried to take it into the blue, you're just too scared to commit to the twist, which is completely understandable. Twisting while flipping for the first time is really scary. So here's some progressions you can do onto a mat. The first one is gonna be just an Arabian, just a simple Arabian. Second thing I want you to do is an Arabian, but don't necessarily tuck, but think about doing the same motion of a full with your arms. So do an Arabian, but instead of going here, 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 I want you to go here, here, and then here. And then try not to tuck. Try to do as much of a kind of layout as possible. So here's a visual aid. I'm gonna do an Arabian roll. Think about doing this exact same motion that I'm about to do, except don't reach for the ground with your hands. I'm just reaching for the ground with my hands because I don't want to just slam on my back on grass. Now, after you're super comfortable with that, you've spammed that like 10 times. Now you want to do that exact same motion, but right before your back hits the ground, think about jerking your body to whichever way you want to twist. So I want to twist left, so I'm gonna do that Arabian roll motion, and then right before I hit the ground, I'm gonna jerk my body to the left and then look to the left as hard as I can. That should get you to do a little bit of the last half twist. And by now you should be landing kind of on your side. Nowhere close to your feet, because right now we're just doing progression. But it's combining that Arabian roll type variation progression with that kind of jerk to the side to finish that second last twist that will get you comfortable with doing the full twist. So you're doing the first half twist using that Arabian motion, and then you're going to do the second half twist using that kind of jerking motion. And then the thing you just got to do there is do that jerking motion earlier and earlier so that the first half twist and the second half twist are kind of going at the same time. This is the progression I've found least scary for my students to learn, as well as the easiest just to comprehend the twist. Now it's okay that you're not landing, you're just getting comfortable with the twist. Honestly, it's just gonna take a ton of spamming using those progressions until you get confident enough to put your feet down instead of reaching for the ground with your hands. Now, if you're choosing this move as your first twisting move, it's gonna be a tedious workload. But one thing that could make it a little bit easier is, as I said, at the beginning of this tutorial, as a progression, you should have a really good scoot, adding your scoot before the full so that you can focus on just the twist instead of height as well. So that's how I learned it. I personally learned scoot full before I learned standing full, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I would say learning standing full before scoot full will just make your scoot fulls 10 times better. That's honestly what I did with corks. Instead of learning scoot cork, I learned just a J-step cork, which is the harder variation, and then once I did scoot corks, they were so high that I just landed scoot dub cork first try. So it just depends whether you want the easier way or the more beneficial way. As I said, I'm not perfect. I use the easier way for BackFull. And yeah, that's everything for this tutorial. Yeah, there's a lot to cover for a BackFull because it's a common thing, so there are lots of common problems with it. But anyway, let's finish off this tutorial with a quick visual overview. So we're gonna swing our arms back to get some energy kind of winded up, and then we're gonna swing our arms up as hard as we can. And while we're doing this, we wanna think about jumping with our legs as hard as we can at the same time. And then once we've left the ground and we think we've gotten as much height as possible, we're gonna think about punching as well as elbowing towards one shoulder, well, above one shoulder. And then we're going to be in sort of an Arabian motion in the air, but instead of staring at the ground and tucking, we're gonna keep on looking over that shoulder that we wanna twist to, as well as just bring our arms into our chest instead of tucking. And then that should pull around our last half twist, and then from there, it's just gonna be air awareness of when to reach your hands, or well, reach your feet towards the ground. And that is it for this tutorial, guys. Whew! Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell button. I really hope that this lived up to your expectations, guys, because all of you have been asking for this tutorial for so long. But anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. PK person out. Also, comment other moves I should do tutorials on because, you know, it's what the family wants.